that you are also incensed about, your party also, is about the voters register. And you seem to think that it's bloated. As a result of that, you feel that the register that is challenged needs to be recomposed. And recomposition means that we need to have a new registration exercise.
Yeah.
And as a result, you are doing a press conference, your vice presidential candidate will be there?
Yes.
Or former vice presidential candidate? Is that it?
Vice presidential candidate.
Oh, that's it.
Yes, he's the running mate.
Okay. Okay, he's the running mate. So you are convening a press conference and he's going to tell us?
Well, in the first place, this is democracy. We have every right to complain about situations. Indeed, before even the 2012 elections, issues had arisen about the voters register. That was the first time we were doing biometric registration. Unfortunately, we didn't appear to have been well prepared for it, in the sense that, as usual, you wait to the last moment. The EC will tell you the budget was not released on time, so we couldn't do the training, we couldn't do this. It was a new system. At the end of the day, we saw that there were a lot of flaws. The then chairman of the EC came to Parliament somewhere in June 2012 to brief us on how the registration had gone. He himself admitted that there were serious problems. Indeed, at a point, over 1 million registered voters could not be placed. I still have the records. Committee of the whole, he came to make that statement there. I put down everything. That at a point, over 1 million voters could not be placed. Somehow, when this election petition came, even when the registers were produced, comparing the one where they said that was the total for parliamentary with presidential, parliamentary ended up 3.6, presidential ended up 4.1, 500,000 gap. Even for those who had been registered abroad, which the EC claimed they had registered abroad, over 200,000. It turned out to be so low, about 7,000. Indeed, they couldn't even explain how they came by that number. We all seem to agree that there are problems. As usual, we should be careful we don't take entrenched positions. Got to a point where the then chairman even said that he doesn't even believe in audit. I can quote him here. It's a telegraphic interview. He thinks that there's nothing wrong with the register. There should be no audit. As to whether they've changed their position or not, it's another matter. Now the situation is, if you have a flawed register because you didn't do things well, do you still use the register for subsequent elections, or do you find a way of changing it? Come February, we want to register those who have turned 18 or those who have never registered. Do we take the opportunity for all of us to register again, given the certain circumstances? I don't want to give the full details because this morning by 9:30,
the details will be given out.
Will come out.
I'm sure it will be covered widely by the media.
Yes.
I have to go to Kobe, but before I go to Kobe, based on what variables do you indicate, the scenarios you've given, it gives you the conclusion that the register is
everybody has admitted it. In court,
who has admitted it?
In court.
I mean, we all watched the court proceedings. Yes. Was it very explicit?
It was. Let me read it for you.
We had sessions where...
Let me read it for you. From Ferijan's own statements, the evidence adduced in support of the voter register by the second petition of Baumia was that the EC provided the MPP with voters register of 14 million and over. And then the number was 14,158, a difference of 127,200. The most important place is that Ferijan himself explained how they came about these problems. The Electoral Commission said they searched their database and were able to recover some of the lost data, particularly in situations. Okay, here. Explanation given by the AC was that in compiling the provincial voters register, they noticed from the daily printouts and Form 1Cs that some voters were inadvertently assigned the wrong polling stations. There were names of people whose biometric details had not been captured or were captured but subsequently lost. Furthermore, there were some registration centers that showed zero registration. Some areas that turned out much fewer voters than what was anticipated. And then he went out to tell us how they tried to address it, including even the overseas voters. But I'm saying that if the number is small, negligible, we could say that it's one of those things. But where you could not place even 1 million voters, where you could not place them by his own account, where there was...
So to you, that's problematic?
You think it's no problem?
No, I'm asking.
No, if you think it's no problem, maybe
no, not me. I'm asking. So to you, that's
if you said to you, that means you think of it in a different way.
I'm not supposed to have a view.
Why not?
No, I don't think I need.
Why not? You don't need to have a view.
I'm giving you the
statistics. You are not supposed to express it openly.
I'm giving you the statistics and everything. They say to you there's a problem. That means to you there's no problem.
I get your drift.
Yes, that is my only worry. So the situation is, there are three scenarios. Do we keep the same register? Do we audit? Or do we do a new one? Those are the three scenarios.
All right, copy.
We are saying that, one, the EC's position was keep the same register, don't audit. Some are saying, in other situations, even I think I heard it from the NDC, said, audit and let's move on. Our position is that let's do a new one, given the second.
Let's compile fresh one.
Fresh one, given the second.
Then it gives everybody a level.
If you ask, why were there so many people who could not even be verified? It was because of the registration. It was because of the registration.
Because there were flaws in it.
There were flaws in the registration.
Right.
Are we going to have the same thing again where 2016 people cannot be verified? And you think they will go home just like that? These are some of the things that we should look at.
Roland, whenever the MPP calls for any new voter item, I look at it with a lot of skepticism.
Well, you think
yes, because they always want to set the stage for something else.
You think the advocacy will not see fruition?
It's not that it won't see fruition. They don't have.
It can't see fruition.
Listen, they don't have a proper basis for it. Let me tell you simple.
They've drawn up clean scenarios.
Listen. Did you follow Did you follow the Nigerian elections? I want to use the state of Kano alone.
Yes, I
you know how many people were registered in Kano? 5 million people. How many people were verified to vote in that election in Kano? 2 million. Are you saying that it's a?
But we do
no, please. Let me. Are you saying that the voters' register was not credible?
No, there are different scenarios.
Yes, we have.
We do understand the scenario in Kano.
No. I'm saying the number. Listen, I'm raising a point. The number of people who register to vote in an election is one thing. The number of people who actually present themselves at the voting station on the voting day to go through the process to vote is another. So if you see these two scenarios, why do you want to start everything afresh when you can never get 100% turnout?
No, we're not talking about the turnout.
No, I'm raising fundamental issues. You see, you need to do these things from a certain point of view. Are we saying a voters register is never credible, can never be used for any election? We are going to go through district assembly elections. Which voters register are we using?
The current one.
Yes.
Just like what we use for 2012.
You see, what we need to do is to perfect the biometric system of voting. It is not about compiling new names.
So what do we do? What do we do with the current?
The current. Keep it. Audit it. If you think there are problems.
How? We display it.
Display it, let people come. Who has died, who has moved. All, you see, citizens
in the presence of party agents.
Yes. Okay. Citizens have a role to play in all of this. Because we are the ones who go to the
So compiling you think is not the solution?
What is the point in compiling you? That requires another budget
I'll let
allocation.
you have this. I have on the line Dr. Ali Duseidu. He's a political scientist with the University of Ghana. Thanks for joining me, Dr. Ali Duseidu. I want to have your candid view on this. And I know it's the most independent view I can get as of now. Do you think we need to compile a new register based on the scenarios that have been drawn up and indicated by the MPP, which also will be consolidated and espoused by the party's vice presidential candidates? Or we go along with what the NDC is also advocating. We keep the current one, but we make sure we display it adequately audited.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Walker. I think the electoral register is a very crucial document that guarantees citizens' participation in a democracy. So it is very, very important. And it serves as the link between the legitimacy of political governance and the liberty of human beings. It guarantees who should participate in the decision-making processes in a democracy. So it's very crucial. But do we need a new voter register now? I think no. Because one, it will be I've listened to most of the arguments of the MPP and the other opposition parties. They are very genuine because the electoral register is very crucial in election. But why am I saying no? One, because if we are going to have an entire electoral register again, it's going to be very expensive to the state. That's my first argument. Second, political parties always have a motive of winning political power. And no political party is the same. They will all use means that will help them to win power. So even if we open up a new voter register now, it doesn't suggest that they are not going to use means that will help them get more of their people to register, legitimate or illegitimate, at their strongholds. They will forever use means that will discredit the register. And thirdly, having a clean voter register could reduce a lot of electoral malfeasance, but it will not entirely. But what I do want the country to do is that, because a lot of people have raised doubts about the register, I will entreat the Electoral Commission maybe to do a comprehensive audit of the current register that we have now, so that they will be able to allay the fears of those who think it's not credible, and they'll be able to bring more confidence into that particular register going to 2016.
Right. Let me ask you.
But an audit is better than a completely new register. It will not guarantee what happened in the old register. It will still happen when they open up for new registration.
Well, we know that sometimes, I know I can equate this to, let's say, matches, but let me just draw this. In football, sometimes there are some matches that are cancelled altogether, and then you play a fresh one. It gives everybody a level playing field based on whatever factors that may have led to the cessation of the old one. Well, I also covered the election adequately. I've covered a number of elections. But the 2012 election also, in some of the instances, presented some peculiar scenarios. For example, there's some constituencies, and I remember overnight we were receiving results. Sometimes, let's say the president gets a vote and his parliamentary candidate doesn't get. Okay. But the tally or the remaining votes, or the difference between the presidential votes as well as the parliamentary candidate, as we know both of them won, is not spread across the rest of the candidates that were recorded in that very constituency, i.e. the vote was not spread. That's the difference between what the presidential vote is and the parliamentary candidate's vote is. It's not spread onto the second person or the third or the fourth across board, either for presidential or parliamentary. So how did we mark up for that very difference, or that, let's say, excess of 50,000 people who were recorded, 5,000 people? Where did they go? They only went to vote for the president and didn't vote for any member of parliament candidate? Is that it? Is that the scenarios?
Yeah, Mr. Walker, I agree to the submissions you have made. There is a lot of issues that has to do with the current voter register that we have, including the fact that there was even a Supreme Court ruling when Mr. Abu Ramadan went to the Supreme Court, when they took the EC to the Supreme Court. And then one of the ruling was that most of the people who use the National Health Insurance ID card the National Health Insurance ID card was not a credible national document to be used for registration. And also our total voter register population of 56% is way higher than what we have in most African and developing countries. And the fact that we also register a lot of discrepancies in the number of people who voted at the parliamentary level and the presidential level are all concerns. That goes a long way to tarnish the current register that we have. I agree that there are issues. But I'm also thinking that if there are these specific issues, why can't we audit those particular issues specifically and try to clean the register moving forward, rather than to disband everything, which was very expensive, a biometric voter registration, very expensive than the previous one that we used to have. They're going to open up a new voter registration, which is also biometric, before 2016. The time period is very short. And the fact that we are going to open a voter new registration doesn't mean that politicians will not try to outsmart the process and get minors or people that they think will vote for them to register. That thing will forever happen, because that is one of the ways that they can win elections. So opening up a new voter register will not guarantee the cleanest type of register that we want. But I think what we can do is that these are legitimate concerns raised by the opposition parties in this particular country. And I think the Electoral Commission must give those people fair hearing. And the way they can do it is to audit based on these particular concerns that have been raised. They can audit the register to make sure that it is clean. That will not make it a 100% perfect thing, but at least the level of confidence that people will have in the register will be higher. and that will guarantee a little bit free, fair election going towards 2016. But having a cleaner register, I always say, it's one of the ways that we can have a cleaner, free, fair election. But it is not the only way that we can have a cleaner, free, and fair elections 2016. So their concerns are legitimate. I agree. But putting aside what we have now and going for a completely new register will be so expensive. All
right, Dr. Sedu, just be on the line so that you can help us close. Your reaction to the scenarios that have been drawn, so to speak, on
in the first place, he appears to agree that we seem to have a problem with the register. His solution is that because it will be expensive, he would prefer that we audit rather than doing a new one. That is a fair argument for him to make. But the issue now is that between auditing and new register, what are the parameters? That's the most important thing. If, for instance, the main issue is that it will be expensive, if the main issue is that it will be a major cost to the nation, and then we get a third party saying that you are ready to take 70% or 80% of the cost, would we agree that we should do a new one? Would we agree that we should do a new one, or are we still going to stick to our position that it's still expensive? If audit will cost X, new one will cost X, Y, and then a third party comes to say that I will take the Y, would we be amenable to a new register, or would we still stick to our position? And I'm glad that we are shifting from the position of no need for audit to audit. Now, so the scenarios are no more 3, they've become 2, audit or new one. So let's continue with the debate and let's look at the pros and cons.
Well, you see, Doctor raised a very interesting point. It's about numbers. Elections are about numbers. Look, if you follow the election results of 2008, you'd see clearly what numbers are about. For somebody who stayed in the strong room and saw what was going on, you'd understand what this game is all about. This call for new register is all about. It's about numbers. When the biometric system was introduced, and you could put in so many people, but when it comes to actual voting day, those so many people can vote just once, and not twice.
But that was not even guaranteed because a lot of people voted without verification.
Fine. But once,
at least. Verification.
At
so
least.
What's the guarantee that they didn't vote more than once?
At least.
Are you talking about probabilities?
Yes. At least once. You vote just once. You saw how the numbers split up, especially coming from the MPP stronghold of Ashanti region.
You
see, Obi, we can go dancing around, but that is the fact.
But do you know what happened in the voter region?
That is the fact.
You know,
go and take
where there are more registered voters than the population.
Go and take the voters register. Go and take the rolls. Go and take the rolls and check. That is the fact. Your vote margin in Ashanti region reduced almost by 600,000 votes. That is what you are seeking to put in a new register.
No, that's not fair.
No. I'm saying it because I know.
How would that change?
How would that change?
How would that change?
Because you want to register more people. Oh. You want to register more people.
Are you saying that?
Your more people you are registering in 2000 who were voting multiple times could not be factored in the biometric system.
No, but if you register again,
no.
It's a flawed argument.
It's not a flawed argument.
It's a flawed argument because you're saying that.
I don't know why you call it a flawed
argument. I'm saying it's not a fair accusation.
If biometric is working, how are you saying that there will be multiple voting? If biometric is working, then why are you saying that you want to register so that you can do multiple votes?
No,
that means the system is not working.
No, that's not what I said.
That means the system is not working.
You want to make up the numbers.
Which numbers?
The shortfall in the number of people you had prior to 2008,
and what would
prior to 2012,
what would you do with it?
And where would they take their numbers from?
Well, yes,
you know. The doctor made the point. No. The doctor made the point.
No, I know what the point is.
You are the same person. You are the same person.
Okay.
You stated.
We have to conclude that
discussion.
Yes,
but he said.
But there's one scenario.
No. He said that you can have the numbers, but when it comes to voting, because of the biometric system, it will check it.
Yes.
So why are you saying that we want numbers?
You want the numbers, so you whip your system in place.
Which system?
That is what you do.
Because you're saying that.
Kobe, I know you were in the front. 2008, we all monitor.
You are the same people who in 2008 said that John Mahama was quoted as saying that with this population of 13 million, we can't have registered voters of 8 million. John Mahama said it.
Okay.
In 2008.
Let me bring
That's
this
why
scenario.
we brought this biometric.
The scenario that you're going to raise today, that also the doctor raised, that averagely, you look at the registered numbers.
Yes.
It's as if ours is above the normal.
Yes.
How do we come by that conclusion based on statistics?
Well, if you pick the Statistical Service population census as of 2010 and you use even the population growth, you have a situation where in some places it's 100% of those who are eligible to register who registered. Some places 96%. Some places you even have.
And you're going to indicate that.
Yes, there's graphic representation.
What time is the press conference?
9:30, Aliza.
Wow.
I even have a draft of it on my tablet here.
I think I'll be there.
Yes.
I should be there.
You are going to present the same overvoting stuff that was presented.
It's not overvoting stuff.
That's my guest for the morning.
That's what I'm going to justify.
My guest for the morning.
Come and watch.
I know what you are going to present.
Kobe Champong. He is the administrator for GIFEC. And, well, let me just give you a full name. Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, GIFEC. And he's a parliamentary aspirant for the NDC for Cape Coast North in the upcoming primaries they are likely to announce, or they have announced already. Yes, and that should be November, right?
Yeah,
yes, you should. Yeah, we should get the personalities who will be representing them by November. And also, Obiamwa Sebunsuamwa, a Cape South Member of Parliament, a member of the MPP as well. They're having a press conference 9:30. Please tune into not only this very station, all the affiliates across the multimedia channels. The Vice Presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, a former Deputy Governor for the Bank of Ghana, will be giving you all the scenarios. He likes playing with the figures, and I know that it's going to dominate the news for the rest of the week. We're taking a break. When we come back, Gladys Oredo will be here with entertainment. It's brought to you by Airtel.